back to Writing Fundamentals with Inktoivy. I'm Zoe, your instructor. Today, we're wrapping up our narrative module by putting our skills to the test and applying everything we've learned so far to a college admissions essay prompt. We'll spend a lot of time writing today, so let's get started. First, make sure you're logged in to Inktoivy with the same account that you used to sign up for the course. Since we're doing college essay practice today, select the blue College Admissions Essays button instead of Writing Fundamentals. Make sure the box in the upper left of your screen says Getting Started. Then, move over to the prompt selection box just to the right and scroll down to the Hidden Talent story. This is the prompt we're going to practice today. Do you have a hidden talent or skill that makes you unique? Share the story of how you discovered it. To start flexing your creative muscles before you write, think about the most superfluous or random skill you have. Not something useful in school, like being good at mental math, or even something useful outside of school, like cooking. Instead, think of the silly thing you're good at, like solving a Rubik's Cube or befriending all of the neighborhood cats. Now that you have your talents in mind, we're going to dive right into drafting. You don't have to write about the useless skills you already thought of, but I hope having that in mind helps you to think about less obvious talents you have that you might want to write about. Find something you're going to have fun explaining and bragging about a bit, even if it's not a classically impressive skill. You're going to start brainstorming your skill and your story. As always, Inktoivy will auto-save your work. Go ahead and set a timer for 5 minutes and pause the video to write. Welcome back from your first writing loop. Go ahead and hit the AI analysis button. You'll notice that the feedback categories are a little different than in our narrative module, but you'll find that applying those same skills will still improve your feedback across the board here. Today, we're going to focus on applying those skills. The essays you're writing today are still narratives. The same storytelling techniques apply, the difference is that the story is about your own real lived experiences instead of fiction. A personal narrative is just a story about a specific event or time period and the way that has shaped who you are. Your personal narrative will still have the same elements of any other story. As we talked about in our lesson on characterization, you will write about yourself as a complete, flawed person with complex interiority and motivations. You'll still construct a plot and have a setting. I've also added the why here as a way to think about your theme. In your narrative essays, you zoomed out from your story to address some issue beyond the context of your plot. In a personal narrative, you're still zooming out from your plot to make your story about something bigger, this time in the context of your life or personal identity. Your theme is the broader significance of why your specific talent matters. For example, maybe you, the who, learned to solve the Rubik's Cube to impress your friends or because you were bored without Wi-Fi, the what, at summer camp, the where. But now, the Rubik's Cube is a way for you to practice mindfulness and reconnect with yourself when you feel stressed, the why. Like your fictional narratives, this personal narrative will follow the arc of a plot and reach a satisfying conclusion. While your theme is the zoomed out version of why your skill matters, the plot is the zoomed in version of how you acquired it or how you've used it. Focus on telling a story. Don't just summarize the general process of learning your skill. For example, saying you took piano classes for years doesn't make for an interesting read. Instead, you might describe being nervous to perform one specific piece for the first time, and how you practice playing it with your eyes closed every day and set up an audience of stuffies to watch you. You might not have a conflict or a climax in the form of physical danger or confrontation with a villain, but your plot will still address a challenge, even if it's an internal struggle. And your conclusion will still resolve the conflict, with you coming out on the other side having gained a skill and maybe some better understanding of yourself or the world around you. It's time to return to your drafts to try to incorporate all the elements we've talked about in our narrative module. If you're feeling stuck, try to answer one of the following questions. What's one memorable moment you discovered your skill, worked on your skill, or used it? How did you feel while developing or using your talent? What challenge did you face while working on your skill? What problem did your skill solve? Feel free to refer back to these questions while you write. Go ahead and set a timer for 12 minutes and pause the video now. Welcome back from your second round of writing. go ahead and run another round of AI analysis. You'll probably still have room to improve after just 12 minutes of writing, but I hope you saw some improvement by applying your skills from our narrative module. And I hope you can feel accomplished that you've gotten to practice what you've learned so far and taken the first step in getting ready to apply to college. Next week, we'll start a new module on argumentative essays. Thanks for writing with me, and see you then.